Hi, this is your boy Digital Don AV, and today I am here to give you my review of the SVS Ultra Evolution Pinnacle speakers. This is what we're going to talk about. I have spent several months reviewing, jamming on, listening to, playing these SVS Evolution Pinnacle speakers, man, and I gotta tell you, this is an absolute killer speaker, a tremendous value, and I've really enjoyed my time with them, to be honest with you. I think at $5,000 a pair, this speaker represents one of the best values in audio and probably one of the best values ever in audio. This is an incredibly capable speaker, standing roughly 50 inches tall, featuring 4 8-inch woofers, 2 5¼ inch mid-ranges, and a diamond-coated tweeter that's world-class. This speaker packs a lot of technology into it. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and go through all the specs and everything in general, like there's about 100 video reviews of this speaker and beat it to death. I'm gonna give you my subjective view of spending a lot of time with these speakers on multiple amplifiers, multiple systems, and in multiple rooms to give my best evaluation to you. So when I first got these speakers and unboxed them, I'd seen them at audio shows and heard them a little bit. I was kind of impressed, but you can't ever really get the full experience hearing something in an audio show. I unboxed them and I was pretty blown away by the actual build quality of the speaker. It's a very sleek design. The mechanical time alignment is something that I believe in. And in fact, I own Focal speakers. I've got Arundel 1528s, and these are all speakers that feature that mechanical time alignment. And some of the best sounding speakers that I've ever heard. So I think there's a little something to that. With all these driver configurations, one of the things that I noticed about the SVS speaker was the absolute sheer dynamics and output. This speaker hammers, it throws down. It actually has probably more bass than any other speaker at its price point or below, and rivals a lot of speakers that cost a lot more. And it's not just boomy bass, it's actually good, solid, usable bass. Now there's a little care involved in that. You got to make sure the placement of your speaker is correct, and that's something that I preach on whatever speaker in whatever room. So pulling it away from the room a little bit is going to affect how that interacts with boundary gain and gives you sound. But if you find that right formula on it, like I think I did, at pulling them out about 1.5 feet from the wall, I think that you're going to be rewarded with incredible, tight, prestigious bass that's also very musical and accurate. Now, if you add in an element like a Dirac, Odyssey, Art, some of the calibration systems out there, like I did, you're even going to see that exponentially grow. Now, these speakers have a MTM type design, mid-range tweeter, mid-range, which I've always favored because I really like the very wide vertical dispersion that it offers, but also more of a control horizontal dispersion when putting it into a room. So it gives you a very, very big sound stage and not super picky. For home theater, not many speakers can match it for the dynamics and output. For 2-channel music, it definitely holds its own with speakers that cost 2 times as much, possibly 3 times as much. They're that good. Really depends on the user's ear. One of the things that I found with these speakers as well is that they're very forgiving, meaning this is probably one of the best rock and roll speakers short of a Klipsch horn that I've ever listened to. A lot of music sounded really right on this. Tonally, the dynamics were great. The blend was very, very good. Now, are these as refined as some higher end speakers, like a higher end Focal or Sonos Faber or whatnot? Maybe not quite as refined, but I mean, I think for usable sound that most audiophiles and most videophiles or home theater enthusiasts are going to want, this is gonna fit the bill. At $5,000 a pair, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but man, this is a really, really hard to beat speaker. Now, SVS has built a complete line around this. They have no less than 3 towers, with the Pinnacles being the flagship, the largest of the bunch. They have 2 bookshelf speakers, a height effect speaker, and also a really, really good center channel. Now, I just asked them for a pair of these that I integrated into my main system. I integrated them to this little kind of demo setup that I have behind me, and I also moved them into a room where I have Focal Canton number 2s, a $12,000 a pair speaker, and really got a chance to listen to them in all these environments. And the closer environment, more of a near field, midfield, let's say, they were very clear, very clean. They were pulled off the wall about 1/3 of the way out from the wall. Still very, very bassy. No need to have a subwoofer. One of the few speakers, and I know a lot of reviewers though, there's no need for a subwoofer. I don't buy into that for most of these guys that are saying that because I like bass. The truth is with these, you really don't need a subwoofer. Not saying you shouldn't add a sub. I've added subs to these and it was just enhanced the experience. But what I'm saying is you don't actually need a sub with these. If you just had a 2-channel system, a good integrated or amplifier of separates of some kind, or even a flagship or larger AV receiver, they're a little bit power hungry. I think their rating is really closer to 4 ohms over 6 and testing in previous reviews of the speaker. So they like power, but then again, most speakers sound better when you put more power to them, and that's something I would recommend. I would say separates or a really high-end AV receiver, or like I have here, a separate 2-channel system with a pretty substantial amp running them. So as you can see here, I replaced the Arundel 1528 towers with the SVS's, and it's all powered and run by the Acurus Act4 and 2 of their M8 amplifiers. We also did the calibration with Acurus's proprietary EQ system, and when I did this EQ measurement and calibration on this speakers, they blended extremely well with the Arundels, which is a much more expensive speaker, and they also just opened up. The sound stage was bigger, the clarity, the definition between the handoff of the tweeter and the mid-range was clear. They seemed more dynamic, and really running them full range, the bass tightened up and became some of the best bass I've heard from any speaker. The only speaker I've had in here that has better and more bass are the $22,000 a pair RBH SVTR towers, which feature 4 dedicated 12-inch subdrivers on them. So at 50 inches in height and right at 100 pounds, this is no small speaker. But what I found with this speaker is that you could move it around the room and adjust it very easily. When I go through my setup process, I always start with the main left and right speakers. I shoot them off axis into the front of the room, and then I move them in 1-inch increments towards the access point, listening to the same music over and over so I can find what to my ears sounds the best. These speakers were very simple to set up. They were very forgiving. I think most anybody would be thrilled to own these speakers. I've got them in the white gloss. They also make them in a black gloss and also a wood veneer finish. Now, one thing I will say is I don't really like the feet, and I think that's kind of a general consensus from all the reviewers and people out there. I wish that SVS had a set of outriggers, and I've even heard through the grapevine that might be in the works, or maybe a third party will come up. But I think a set of outriggers to stabilize these, you could adjust them forward a little bit or back. That might be the order of the day on these particular speakers. Now, again, I did not do a full surround evaluation of these. I hope to have these back at some point, add the center channel and some rears, and really give this a run in a full surround system. But I can tell you my experience with these, the dynamics are on point and on par with many speakers that are designed and sold as dedicated theater speakers, but also the musicality of a hi-fi set of speakers as well. I think it's the full package, and I think SVS has hit a home run. I know that a lot of fellow reviewers and audiophiles that I know, we all really like this speaker a lot. And I think most anybody would be happy with it. So to kind of recap on all this, I've enjoyed my time with these SVS Pinnacle speakers immensely. They're one of the better speakers I've ever had in my listening environment at any price. I would own these without qualm. I would enjoy these. I think most of you out there are looking for not a cheap speaker at 5 large, but a really tremendous value. This direct-to-consumer market is just on fire right now, from Arundel to Emotiva to SVS to Stark Sound. Companies are kicking out and producing really amazing products at a tremendous value, and these speakers are smack dab in the middle of that. I give it my highest recommendation. Now, are there speakers that I like better? Absolutely. Are there speakers in this price range that I like better? I don't think so. The package, the overall bass output, the dynamics, the clarity, the sound stage, these are world-class speakers, and I can say nothing bad about them. I really like them. There might be a little dip or qualm in the measurements, nothing that you can't EQ out, nothing that when I was listening to it really caused me any issue or caused me to go, oh, I don't like this. They were very musical, and they were very forgiving on a lot of music. If you listen to rock, or you're rock heavy in what you like, or blues, this might be the speaker to look at, because these things jam on rock. Buy these speakers without hesitation. Be happy with what you buy. I give them my fullest recommendation and endorsement. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, show me some love, and then next time, holler at your boy.